Who knows about a rocky career better than Mike Schmidt? From day one, he's faced challenges and dealt with people being let down by his performances. But honestly, he never seemed to let it bother him. Schmidt's career is a great example of how even the most talented players can face challenges and criticism along the way. Early on, despite eventually becoming famous for his Gold Glove-worthy defense, Schmidt had his share of struggles. He was prone to making errors, which raised doubts about whether he could live up to his potential. It wasn't uncommon to hear people questioning if he'd ever develop into the superstar he was projected to be. Then there was his batting stance and his bold, confident style of play. To some critics, it came off as showy or even disrespectful to the traditional image of baseball. They called it hot dogging and didn't hold back in voicing their opinions. But on the flip side, plenty of fans and even fellow players admired Schmidt's unique flair. It made him stand out and brought an edge to his game that others lacked. Of course, no conversation about Schmidt's career would be complete without mentioning his slumps. For a player as gifted as he was, he had periods where he just couldn't seem to find his rhythm at the plate. These rough patches frustrated fans and gave the media plenty to talk about. Some blamed it on the pressure he put on himself, while others thought his intense personality might have played a role. Whatever the cause, Schmidt's slumps added a layer of complexity to his otherwise remarkable career. And like many big-name athletes, Schmidt wasn't a stranger to contract negotiations. While these weren't exactly major controversies, they sometimes created tension between him, the Phillies, and their fan base. It's the kind of thing that comes with being a star player. Your value is always under a microscope. Finally, Schmidt's relationship with the media was, let's just say, complicated. He could be distant, even combative at times, and it didn't always sit well with reporters or fans. Interviews with him could feel tense, and his reserved nature often led to misunderstandings. Still, Schmidt stayed true to himself, even if it meant not always being the most popular guy off the field. Schmidt's journey to baseball greatness started long before he became a household name in the major leagues. During his college days at Ohio University, he was a standout player who led the Ohio Bobcats to the 1970 College World Series. His performance that season earned him a spot as the shortstop on the 1970 College Baseball All-America team, which was an early sign of the talent he'd bring to the professional stage. The Philadelphia Phillies saw his potential and wasted no time acting on it. In the 1971 MLB draft, they selected Schmidt in the second round, 30th overall, a move that would eventually change the trajectory of their franchise. It didn't take long for Schmidt to make an impression. On June 11, 1971, Phillies scout Tony Lucadello, who had been following Schmidt's progress since his high school days, signed him to the organization. Just 6 days later, Schmidt stepped onto the field in his first professional game, an exhibition between the Phillies and their Double-A affiliate, the Reading Phillies. In that game, Schmidt gave everyone a glimpse of what was to come. Playing the entire game at shortstop for the Phillies, he didn't just hold his own. He hit a game-winning home run against the very players who would become his Reading teammates. It was a dramatic introduction to professional baseball and a moment that surely left fans and scouts buzzing about his future. Schmidt spent the remainder of the 1971 season in Reading, cutting his teeth at the Double-A level and continuing to refine his skills. By the next year, he was on the move again, this time to the Triple-A Eugene Emeralds of the Pacific Coast League. During his time in the minors, Schmidt showcased his versatility, playing not just shortstop but also third base and second base. This adaptability made him an even more valuable asset as the Phillies worked to determine where his talent would best fit on the diamond. After 2 seasons in the Phillies farm system, where he batted .263 with 34 home runs and 122 RBIs, Schmidt got his big break in September 1972. He was called up to the majors and made his debut against the New York Mets on September 12th. Just a few days later, on September 16th, he hit his first career home run in Philadelphia, ending Montreal Expos pitcher Baylor Moore's impressive streak of 25 scoreless innings. It was a fitting start for a player who would soon become one of the game's greatest power hitters. The Phillies, seeing Schmidt's potential, made a bold move after the 1972 season. They traded their starting third baseman, Don Money, to the Milwaukee Brewers to clear a path for Schmidt. But his first full season in 1973 didn't exactly silence the critics. He batted just 196 and struck out 136 times, leading some to wonder if the Phillies had made the right decision. Despite his struggles at the plate, Schmidt's power was undeniable. He hit 18 home runs and gave glimpses of what he could become. In 1974, Schmidt turned the corner. He had a breakout season, raising his batting average to 282 and earning his first All-Star selection. One memorable moment that year came on June 10th in Houston's Astrodome. Schmidt hit a towering shot off Astros pitcher Claude Osteen that seemed destined to be a home run, but the ball struck a public address speaker suspended 117 feet above the field, causing it to drop into center field. By the rules, the ball remained in play, and Schmidt was held to a single. Had it not hit the speaker, many believed the ball would have traveled over 500 feet. That season, Schmidt led the league with 36 home runs and 116 RBIs, finishing sixth in the NL MVP race and helping the Phillies climb out of the NL East basement for the first time in years. He also set a record for third baseman with 404 assists that season. The following year, Schmidt's batting average struggled early, dipping below .200 through May 1975, but strong performances in the summer months helped him finish at .249. His power numbers remained steady, and he led the league in home runs for the second straight year with 38. By 1976, Schmidt was unstoppable. He opened the season with a bang, hitting 12 home runs in the Phillies' first 15 games. On April 17th, he joined an elite club by hitting 4 home runs in a single game, becoming just the 10th player in MLB history to achieve the feat. He finished the season with 38 home runs, 107 RBIs, and his first of 10 Gold Glove awards. With Schmidt leading the charge, the Phillies won their first division title since division play began in 1969. In 1977, Schmidt's career reached new heights, both on and off the field. He signed a groundbreaking contract with the Phillies, becoming the highest-paid player in baseball at $561,500 per year, the first to surpass the $500,000 mark annually. Schmidt's performance justified the paycheck as the Phillies continued to dominate the NL East, winning the division 3 straight years. However, postseason success eluded them. They were swept by Cincinnati's powerhouse Big Red Machine in 1976 and fell to the Los Angeles Dodgers in 1977 and 1978. The Phillies aimed to bolster their roster in 1979 by signing Pete Rose to a record-breaking $3.2 million contract. With Rose in the mix, expectations were sky high, but the team fell short, finishing 4th in the NL East with an 84-78 record. Despite the team's struggles, Schmidt continued to shine. He shattered the franchise's single-season home run record with 45, surpassing Chuck Klein's mark of 43 set in 1929. The 1980 season was a turning point for Schmidt and the Phillies. On October 3rd, they faced the Montreal Expos in a game that would decide the fate of the NL East. Both teams were tied for first place, and the stakes couldn't have been higher. Schmidt delivered right from the start with a sacrifice fly in the first inning. Later, in the 6th, he smashed a solo home run that gave the Phillies a 2-1 victory and a crucial lead in the standings. But Schmidt wasn't done. The very next day, with the division title on the line, he stepped up again, hitting his 48th home run of the season in the 11th inning to secure a 6-4 win. That clutch moment clinched the NL East for the Phillies. His 48 home runs not only set a new team record, but also led the National League by a wide margin. With 121 RBIs to go along with his league-leading home runs, Schmidt was a no-brainer choice for the National League MVP award, earning it unanimously. The Phillies rode that momentum into the playoffs, beating the Houston Astros in a dramatic National League Championship Series to advance to the World Series for just the 3rd time in franchise history. While Schmidt had struggled in postseason play before he entered with a career batting average of just 191 and no home runs, this time was different. Against the Kansas City Royals, Schmidt's bat came alive. He hit 2 home runs and drove in 7 runs, leading the Phillies to their first-ever World Series title. For his performance, Schmidt was named World Series MVP. He even found time for some fun afterward, appearing on Family Feud with 4 teammates to face off against members of the Royals in a battle of baseball trivia. The following season, shortened by a player's strike, might have been Schmidt's best. In just 102 games, he hit 31 home runs, 7 more than anyone else in the league, and led in nearly every major offensive category, including RBIs, runs scored, total bases, and walks. His batting average, on-base percentage, and slugging percentage all hit personal highs. Unsurprisingly, he earned his 2nd consecutive MVP award, this time with 96% of the vote. Despite his heroics, the Phillies' postseason run ended early when they lost to the Montreal Expos in the division series. In 1983, the Phillies celebrated their 100th anniversary, and fans voted Schmidt as the greatest player in franchise history. He lived up to that title by leading the league in home runs for the sixth time in his career, propelling the Phillies back into the playoffs. Schmidt shone in the NLCS, hitting .467 and scoring 5 runs to help defeat the Los Angeles Dodgers. But the World Series against the Baltimore Orioles was a different story. The Phillies' bats went cold, hitting just 195 as a team. Schmidt struggled, going 1 for 20 with a lone single, and the Phillies lost in 5 games. Following that tough end to the season, Schmidt was awarded the prestigious Lou Gehrig Memorial Award for his integrity and character both on and off the field. But the Phillies were in transition. Pete Rose left the team, and the void at first base was noticeable. In 1985, Schmidt stepped in to fill the gap, moving to first base mid-season. It wasn't his natural position, but he did it for the good of the team. Unfortunately, the Phillies finished with a losing record for the first time since 1974. By 1986, the Phillies had shuffled their roster again, moving outfielder Von Hayes to first base and allowing Schmidt to return to his home at third. The move paid off in a big way. Schmidt crushed 37 home runs, drove in 119 RBIs, and won his 3rd MVP award, a record for third baseman. Even now in 2025, Schmidt remains the last player to lead the league in RBIs 4 times. On April 18, 1987, Schmidt hit a milestone that few players ever reach. In the top of the 9th inning against the Pittsburgh Pirates at Three Rivers Stadium, with the Phillies trailing 6-5, Schmidt launched a 3-run home run off Don Robinson. That homer not only won the game, but also made Schmidt the 15th member of the exclusive 500 home run club. It was a moment of pure joy and triumph for Schmidt and his fans. But age and injuries started to catch up with him. In 1988, a rotator cuff injury sidelined Schmidt for the final month and a half of the season. He returned healthy in 1989, but struggled early in the year. On May 29th, Schmidt shocked the baseball world by announcing his retirement during a press conference in San Diego. Known for his cool demeanor on the field, Schmidt surprised everyone by becoming emotional during his speech. He reflected on his journey, saying, "Some 18 years ago, I left Dayton, Ohio, with 2 very bad knees and a dream of becoming a Major League Baseball player. I thank God this dream came true." Schmidt's final game was on May 28, 1989, against the San Francisco Giants. Even after his retirement, fans voted him as the starting third baseman for the National League All-Star team. While Schmidt chose not to play, he participated in the opening ceremony in uniform, a fitting farewell for one of baseball's greatest players. And that wraps up today's video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again soon.